Can you hear me?
Okay, we're back. I'm sorry, that was my fault. My internet went out.
Okay.
Letting a few more people in. Hey, Faye. Hey, Tony. Hey, Warren.
Hi,
Hey,
Marvin. Good morning. It's Tony. I hope it's okay.
Say what?
Hey, Irene asked me to sit in for her.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because she wasn't sure if she was going to be able to make it.
Okay.
How are you? How's everybody doing? How's the weather down in North Carolina?
Hot, hot, hot.
Yeah.
Hello, all.
Hello, hello.
Hey.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, Tony.
Hey.
Sorry for the noise.
Hey, Adrian.
Hey there, girl. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Good to see you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Adrian.
Hey there, Coastwater.
Well, you need to tilt your screen down a little bit. We're still just getting the top of your head, yeah.
Is that me?
No,
Is that better?
Much better.
Okay.
Hi, Faye.
Hello, Greta. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so sorry for your loss of your brother next door.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
Yeah.
We're still working through it, but
Yeah.
Hey, Bob.
Hello all, how are you?
Oh.
hello.
Robert.
Howdy, howdy.
Howdy, howdy. Where are you calling from, Robert?
Chicago, out in Woodlawn.
Okay, okay.
All right, I'm back on, y'all. Here I am again.
Tandra, how are you, sister?
Hey,
Hey, babe. I'm learning how to do something. So you
Who's
get more than a
that?
topic.
That's right.
Warren, Robert, everybody. Hey.
Hello, hello.
Okay. Ingrid. Who's Ingrid? Ingrid.
Yeah.
Greta?
Yes.
Okay.
Tandra.
Hey.
Warren.
Tadre's giving us scenery.
I love scenery and beauty and lips.
Yes.
Listen, she's giving us a live.
Yeah.
What a great live.
Okay, I do not need these glasses.
Don't mind me, you guys. Curfew is in an hour, and I haven't left the house, so I'm just going for my little evening walk.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So how long is the curfew for? When does it start?
I mean, the curfew has been going on for the past few months. That's their way of trying to contain COVID.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what are the hours? What are the hours?
I think it's 7 p.m. to like, I don't know, 6 a.m., something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well let's we can get started. Couple of things that I wanted to for us to chew on a little bit. Obviously, you know, we've been exploring and making progress, I think, on these various social media platforms, testing what works, what doesn't work, who it works for and doesn't work for, and all of that. And I think, you know, obviously we're going to continue to do that and build our knowledge base. In the background, a few things have been happening. Individuals have been taking classes, building, you know, capacity like that. But you know, obviously this is the wave of the future, and we need to build our capacity as a collective, as a constituency in this environment to become a force and not just, you know, a group of individual people trying to make it real. This is obviously the new frontier, and you know we've got to hit it hard and bring to it, you know, the capacity of who we are as individuals and collectives, so that we can make enough noise in this environment to be noticed, to be respected, and to be patronized. And again, that's not anything that any of us can do individually. That has to be a group effort. That has to be a force in order for even for people to find us individually. We have to have some kind of dominant, powerful, impressive group presence. So in order to do that, we need to build capacity within the group. So we need another, you know, at least another 10 or 15 folks who are e-commerce ready, who have their systems in order, who know, you know, how to package, ship, and deliver, post, have the capacity to maintain a website, to establish and maintain social media presence, and then to be able to communicate with each other within the network over, you know, some agreed upon platform. So far, Shopify is the primary e-commerce platform that we're recommending people migrate to. And until that changes, that's the kind of the plan on the board. So we're hoping to get as many people as possible to create Shopify websites. You know, we have a few folks, couple of folks who can assist with that. You know, Tadre has offered her services to assist with Shopify website developments. Ella has offered to assist if you're in the environment and having some issues or questions. You know, as we all go along, I think we're figuring more and more things out. You know, I'm learning as I go. And so, you know, that's kind of the environment that we're populating. Like I said, we've attempted, you know, the Facebook Live presentation format as a way to boost and enhance sales, and you know have had some success, but it's, you know, obviously it's an option to be explored. One of the primary things though that had come across my mind is we are essentially building a commercial ecosystem for cultural enterprises. So we're kind of building it from scratch. And part of the issue there is that in laying this foundation, we have to create systems and relationships that are functional, productive, and mutually beneficial. You know, I think of the entertainment industry, where there are numbers of characters and components that interact, each of which gets a percentage of the total product and project, you know, for their participation. But nobody gets a piece that's so big that it stops the flow. And the project here is to make certain that everybody at every stage of engagement is profiting, and that there are no bottlenecks where somebody is getting more than their fair share and preventing the system from flowing fluidly. If I were an actor and I had an agent whose job it was to get me roles, negotiate my contracts, etc., that agent gets 10%. Conversely, if I'm a visual artist and I want to have a show at a gallery, that gallery wants 40, 50, or 60%. Look at the progress of the entertainment industry and look at the stagnation of the visual arts industry. Because that percentage is so high, it is blocking creativity. It is blocking the economics in that zone. And so galleries are closing, artists are starving. It doesn't work. Now, if they adjusted the percentages, you know, there would be more galleries. There would be more patronage. More artists would be able to sustain themselves in creating and exhibiting their work. So here we are at the beginning of this, and we need to pay attention to the percentages and the formula of what makes sense. So case in point, you know, I was talking to Warren about this. He and Ella are trying to do a migration of their website so that Ella's products will appear on Warren's website. They had established a 20% commission for that. And my thinking was that that was excessive if the artist or if the producer is going to be responsible for packaging and shipping and delivering the product, then the host is just providing the environment.
I don't, use
but-
that as a Marvin. Use that percentage as an example. We haven't just Ella and I haven't used.
Okay, so if the host is also hosting the product and packaging and shipping, that's another relationship. So we need to be mindful of the percentages that we establish in dealing with each other, because we're setting the example, we're creating the framework, and we need to be clear that all of this is workable and fluid. Which brings me to the next point. All of the festivals, or at least the major festivals that many of us populate, are all canceled and are attempting to create online versions of themselves. So I just got a communication from the International African Arts Festival, which I usually exhibit at. You know, for the early bird booth fee there, it's $600. So they have my $600. So they're offering me the opportunity to participate in their online festival. And they would give me this space and promote me this way and that way. And all of that is fine. However, they've never done an online festival before. This is a new venture for them. And before I participate in it, we need to have conversations about what's equitable and what's reasonable. Now, what's reasonable is certainly not for me to give you $600 to have a posting on your website. But there is going to be a tendency of these online festivals to simply like flip a switch and expect us, you know, to still pony up the same amount of money for what? So with that $600, you know, I could take that money and, you know, invest in my own, you know, marketing and outperform anything that they're going to do, you know. So I'm just putting that out as a cautionary tale, because you're going to be getting these solicitations from these festivals who are, you know, converting to online platforms and wanting you to pay them that $300, $400, $500, $600 so they can post your website or your name or whatever they're planning. And, before you jump, think, you have to think now, even in this environment, what are the percentages? What are the formula in an online environment that makes sense for you, that are going to allow you to profit and grow your enterprise? The system that we're coming out of, these festivals and show circuit, did not allow for that. If you're paying $700, $800, $1,000, $1,200, $2,500 for a show, you're not going to profit. You might make some money, you might get some cash flow, you might be able to afford to do the next show, but that's not a working formula. We had created a formula whereby the fee for a show could not exceed 15% of what we made at the show. So if I spent, $500, for a show, and I'm not making $500, $7,500 at the show, that show is no longer viable for me, and it's off the schedule. And that's why we migrated to doing events at our friends' stores as pop-up. No matter what show we do, we're inviting our own audience. If I do a festival, in addition to the festival fee, I'm still doing a hard copy postcard mailing to 500 or 1,000 people, and email, and Facebook posting, and, so as we're moving forward, we need to be cognizant of, what it is going to require of us, to be successful in this environment. The social media thing is definitely a must, but that takes time, that takes energy and effort. And presumably, we're producing, we're creating, we're managing other aspects, of our enterprise. Are there people who can do that for us? Are there ways we can automate and simplify the management of that? So, that's kind of, what I wanted us to think about. The other piece is in this ecosystem, let's be mindful of who else is in this universe with us. We are, some of us, individual artists, creators, but we have, we have Faye, we have Zawadi, that are retailers, that are vital to the survival and presence, of our sector. So we have to be as concerned about their viability going forward in the e-commerce environment. So, our first foray into this was with Zawadi, in which we did a show, an online show at her store, basically by posting our products on her website. That's a process, that's a formula. And especially as we all migrate to the same platform, that's just another thing that can be going on in the background, while you're doing this and while you're doing that. Just, 10 or 20 items, at this person's store, at this person's website, just as Ella and Warren are doing, sharing products. So our products have a broader reach, our presence has a broader reach, and through the commerce, we're generating income, to support and sustain a number of enterprises. The project that Greta is attempting to launch, where she's going to be basically promoting and selling other people's products and engaging other folks to collaborate with her by sharing audience. That's another viable option whereby we have a broader reach into this environment. But you all are some of the smartest people I know. You have to be to have survived. So I know this is like a new environment, but we need to put on our thinking caps and figure out how we conquer this, not just participate in it. We have to own this world and not just be on the margins of it. So that requires some vision, some imagination, some creativity, some nerve, you know, collaborations that we're doing. Each of you need to reach out to the constituencies around you. We need to bring more people into this environment. So for example, if we were doing a festival amongst ourselves, what would that look like?
Yep.
You know, obviously, you know, we have each of our presentations. Who was the performers, the artists? We have friends who are authors who've written books. We have, you know, service providers. There's a whole universe of folks we're connected to who could participate in collective and collaborative enterprises that we need to be thinking about. You know, what kind of vehicle do we need to build to drive into this, you know, digital universe, so that, you know, we get traction, we get mileage, and we get to go everywhere we want to go that everybody else is trying to go. So collaboration, creativity, imagination, let's not get stuck on this entry-level environment. We need to be thinking, you know, 5, 10 years down the road in terms of where we want to be. You know, I talked to Mark, you know, saying, hey, we want to be an Amazon. We want, you know, we want to be like that. We want to be that large. We want to be a creative portal, so that everyone in the world knows that if you're looking for the finest creativity, you come through us, you know. And once you come to us, you're going to be amazed, because we're going to blow your mind at every turn. You know, we have the creativity. Now we have to, you know, create a new environment. With those festivals, you know, we created the festivals. We created that environment.
Yes, we did.
You know, from the model of the African Street Festival as the first, you know, we took that model to Chicago. We created the African Festival in Chicago. We, you know, collaborated with the folks in Detroit, you know, to create the African World Festival. Created Harlem Week. So, you know, all of these events come out of us, but over a period of time, they got away from us. So here we are starting again at a new environment, and we have to be certain that this environment does not get away from us, and that, you know, we are infusing in it. And, you know, Mark was very emphatic about this. Our values, our attitudes, our policies need to be infused in this e-commerce environment, so that it is ethical, productive, rewarding, you know, for everybody. And it doesn't become, you know, the landing place of the hustlers and the exploiters, but that it is there and available for everyone to access. This is a common good. Nobody owns this. This is, you know, the place where we do business and exchange, and we are tasked with creating it in a way that others can come in and benefit from it. You know, so that's kind of, you know, that's kind of what I had to say. And at this point, I'll, you know, engage anybody else who has anything else to share in terms of where they've been or what they've been doing, you know.
I want to say
Well,
that oh, who's going?
Was that?
I have really been enjoying everybody's lives. Congratulations on just starting and wanting to continue. I think it's a great place to be, even if you're just starting and there's faux pas. People are enjoying you because you're live and you took the time to come to them.
Yes.
That's
they
called
are.
value. The value and the beauty of a Koswa saying, oh, I didn't have the price on that, but I'll get back to you. It's how she said it. It's how she engaged you for you to come back to her because the piece is beautiful. You know, you can't get enough blue. They're so adorable. And Marvin, just the connection that you guys made between the hour of Damali and then the hour of you is such a wonderful show. It's 1 hour back to back, and they're getting the blues and the indigos and the conversation. And hats off to you for that. Aaron, just love the 3-day BAM that you did. That took a lot of work, brother. 3 days of BAM. So it's like everybody was in BAM with him, and because he sold enough socks that he may not have to make another socks for a while. And so he's working out his systems. You see his systems, you see the tiredness. Sister Nan is in the back, the son is in front. So that's a family affair, and some of us don't have that. Marvin and Akosua, I'm a solo act, you know, and I put the phone down and I come back at you. Hold on, I'll be right back. This is what I want to get. Boom, bam, bam. There is excellence in everything that has flaws. There's still excellence in there because the product is the end result and you are the end result of that delivery. So I really, really want to, I see you guys really doing it. It's wonderful. I'm hoping that it's working to some degree, that it's worth it, you know, just to keep it going, to be relevant. D is on the line. Oh, I said I want the blue one first. Oh my God, Akosua, I need another blue. And she's busy like a little elf in the back trying to figure out how many blue pieces can I make, you know?
Right.
So it's just amazing. Looking forward to assisting Adrian. I feel like I have coached a few people in going live and so on. So I get these back calls, you know, Bamboozle is on the phone in the back. Greta, how did I do? Now, I noticed he had models in the beginning, and then he did all flat velvet laid out pieces, which was very clean. No lot of people. His tech guy is in the back. For those of you who haven't seen his live, take a look at the last one that he did. Very simple, very clean, but his tech young person was so on point. The landing page to begin with of who's coming, Akosua and Marvin, you guys are wonderful with that. The color, the blue, check us out. The invitation is beautiful. Then he has this young man just putting in all of his info at the bottom while things are going on. You know, you can kind of get all the info. You don't have to mention it all the time. So he has a wonderful young tech working with him, which is beautiful. Like Marvin said, we all need that extra hand. But watching what everybody does, even at this juncture with just doing the lives, it's not going to live like this forever unless somebody else might be doing it for us somewhere and we're doing other things. But it's good to see that we've joined the tech force and we're doing some live and people are actually buying. So I had a call the other day of people shopping, a friend of mine in Jamaica. Yes, they are. In
Marvin and
whatever level, yes, they are.
So what, Warren?
Can you give us an overall a summary of how your event went this past weekend?
Sure.
I'll go. It went good. I did, I mean, it was very good for me. And I need to be working right now or sending out packages. But people, you know, piggying back on what Brenda said as it relates to people that just are really excited and loving to just, now everybody doesn't buy whatever, but just being able to participate and see you. I mean, I got texts from people and calls that, you know, it was so wonderful. It was just good to see you all. And Marvin's words were so encouraging at the end, and that just gave me joy. I just needed something like that. So that's very good. And we need that upliftment right now, just to be in interaction, contact with each other. But I think that, you know, we're improving each show. Yes, the back-to-back, as she said, with Molly and doing the blue theme. And I'm going to continue it, as I said, throughout the month. I'm going to do one more event. But I think I'm going to do an evening event so that I can tell people, I want people to wear blue. And that
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and that we will, just have like a little party or, just a come together. So,
You're thinking of the Zoom.
well, I'm going to do Zoom too, but I'm going to do a Facebook Live. And I had a question for you, Greta, and I don't know if anyone has done this. This is to everyone. Has anyone done Instagram Live show?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I want to check into that
Yeah.
because there are a lot of younger people on Instagram that I am in contact with, or that follow me, and they're not on Facebook. So,
So I have a question for Warren.
mhm.
I see other people doing Instagram and Facebook together. How does that work?
Mhm.
I am not really on Instagram yet. I do have links to Facebook, but I haven't had time to go in and, I want to call it, massage it. I have
Right.
products that are just there. I know that I have
Right.
sales that are coming from Facebook, but my website in itself with, well, I am connected. I have some limited products on Amazon between my website. Most of my sales now are coming through the website, but through that and Amazon. But right now, fortunately, I'm too busy to look into some of the other marketing channels.
Yeah.
It's been kind of a double-edged sword, but it's working well for me right now, really the website. So right now, I really don't have time to do anything other than fill orders.
Right. That's great.
Tadra, you were trying to say something before I know your curfew starts.
Well, I had to come back in the house because my phone died. So now I'm plugged in. But yeah, I just wanted, I don't know exactly what I missed, but I checked in where Marvin was talking about, moving beyond the entry level and having, becoming like Amazon of sorts.
Your audio is breaking up.
What I wanted to say to that level, but here for some. Okay, how is it now?
It says choppy. It's like
It's a little better.
Better.
Nope.
Okay, let me try to go outside while I have
It's
some
fine right
battery.
now.
Okay, you're trying
Okay.
that.
Okay, so I'm outside now, so hopefully the battery will last a bit. I basically just wanted to find out how people liked sites like Etsy, etc. I'm really not one who likes to reinvent the wheel. And while we're building our own collective platform, I would advise people to get on as many sites as possible so that they can, try to get revenue from as many places as possible. A lot of us who are in the hospitality business or rent out spaces in our homes or vacation homes, we're on multiple sites so that we can try to get customers from as many locales as possible. So that's one of the things that I wanted to mention. The only one that I'm familiar with is Etsy. And you guys might know of some other sites. The other thing I was going to wanted to mention is, Shopify, which I think, Marvin, your site is built on Shopify, right?
Yes.
So Shopify is really recommended for sellers. However, it's not a slick platform. And, if you're looking for something that has a bit more animation, but also has an e-commerce feature, Wix.com is great. So I know at Kosuwa, you're having your website built. So it's just something to consider. The thing with Shopify is, yes, it's great with e-commerce. However, if you wanted to have animation or to be just a bit more fancy, or have a bit more features, you can hire someone who is versed in coding, who can spruce up your site if that's what you want to do with Shopify. The other thing I wanted to mention is that um, all of these social media platforms are competing with each other. And even though Facebook owns Instagram, they are also still competing for users. So what I've noticed is now Facebook has a Zoom feature where you can do conference calls with multiple people on Facebook. So I would imagine Instagram is going to have something like that as well. And Akosua, I know you said you wanted to connect with a younger demographic that's on Instagram. And I've seen a lot of people do lives on IG. And one of the other things I would encourage you all to do is to have artist talks. And just listening to you all talk about how when you did your Facebook Live, people were excited to just see your faces, because right now we can only connect digitally. You can't go up and hug somebody. So having an artist talk would be a wonderful way to connect with your followers, to connect with your customers. And, you could do that with a partner. That's, I've actually done that before. And, I would also, I think I said this on a previous call, I would be excited to see you all launch your own courses on Udemy, where you're teaching people, you're giving a master class on how to do a particular thing. So I'm on Instagram quite a bit. They advertise to me a lot. And I've
What is the
seen
name of it again?
Udemy.
Udemy,
Udemy.
Udemy. But there's so many others that
Yeah.
are, so many other platforms that give experts an opportunity to monetize their talents. And it does require a lot of time. I've done it myself. It requires a lot of time to record, get the audio right, the sound right, and make it interesting and come up with a curriculum. But if you are teaching something that people are really interested in, it may be worth your while, and it can serve as residual income. You're sleeping and then someone is taking your class in Tokyo, whether you're teaching leather making, sketching, pattern making, goldsmithing, etc. So just something to think about long term.
Excuse me, Tadre. This is Bob Porter. Quick question. When you talk about having an artist there or a performer there to just speak, are you talking about multiple locations now that the broadcast is originating from, so that somebody's got to be there to mix the content?
Right. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So let's say I wanted to team up with a Kosua and I wanted to interview her about her art, about her process, her design process, her fabrication process. So I would advertise on my social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, that, we're going to have this artist talk. And I would direct people, I would send people the link so that they could join us. And let's say, Juneteenth. And they would be able to go to either my Instagram page or a Kosua's Instagram page, and they would be able to tune in to our talk in real time. And then I have the option to actually save that talk on my page, my Instagram, and probably even embed it on my website if people wanted to access it after the talk was over. But I recall a co-swat talking about how when you had your boutique in Chicago and every month you had an event to draw people, to bring people into your shop. And that resonated with me. So when I had my shop in DC, I did the same thing. Now that we have these digital platforms, you guys should start thinking about how can you bring people into your digital shop. And that's exciting. So I like the idea of Koswa, you know, challenging people, or what's the word, making it interactive and saying, hey, everybody, you know, wear blue the next time you join me, or whatever, you know, other creative options that you guys can think of to make it interactive and exciting.
And I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, do any of these platforms have a way to integrate somebody else's live feed, their visual, into the other person's live feed, so that you see both parties, although they're in
Yes.
different locations?
They do, Robert.
Yes.
All of them do?
Well, some do.
Yes.
There are some that are centralized that can feed, and this is Mark, by the way. Just listening to just trying to partner on to what Tadre is saying is, you guys are in a perfect position in terms of what this digital economy can provide for you, because a lot of the things that Tadre is saying in terms of the artist talks, the learning capacity in terms of Udemy, or you know, the e-commerce platforms, in today's world, like all of those things fit into a methodology, right? They fit into a process, a sales funnel that can feed and supply all of you, right? And the idea is, yes, like these platforms exist. There are platforms that you can all post to, that can post to everyone's social media at the same time, right? This is the world of decentralization, right? Where, if, for example, you were all dependent on the organizations that you all helped create, to now those organizations were now charging you for money. Well, in this society, as Tadre was saying, this new digital society, all those limitations are gone, right? So the idea is, take your user, and I think Tadre, you used the term, I'm using a term called the term experience, right? When you're talking about Akuswa and the experience of everyone wearing blue. So we collectively should be curating the same type of experience for our users, right? Collectively. So if it's the Blue Week, then we should be promoting the Blue Week to all of our users, and we should have a process that should take the user through that experience and teach them, if it's Blue Week, well, why is it Blue Week? And in that process, as they go through, you know, and shop at each of your sites, or, you know, interact with each of your posts, you start to reward them for the learning and the capacity that they're building in your process, right? And you start to leverage some of the things that I'm hearing, fees, you know, some of the pieces that you're talking about. These are all pieces that can fit together and are amazingly powerful because of the connectedness that we all have, which is the culture, right? So there are specific pieces like, yes, the sites. Like, it doesn't matter which e-commerce website. I'm just giving you from a technologist's perspective. Yes, use Etsy. Yes, use Wix. You know, use Shopify, but use something so that, and from my perspective, when it comes time that you're able to, in your own growth of your own business and your own digital business, that you're ready to tie all of them together. So Robert, you can do an event with Kosua, you can do an event with Tadre. It's easy because really and truly all these platforms, they have APIs in the back end that can tie all of your products and all of the experiences that your customers are having together. So not only do you want to take your customers through a process, but you also have to take yourself through a process to say, you know, how many of us are all online? Okay, get online, once we're all in, you know, each social media, you know, what stage are you at with each social media, how many followers do you have, we can keep those things not centralized, but have access to them through whatever platform you're using, and be able to share the value that those platforms are bringing. Like you guys are at a very, you know, key point right now where you have all of this technology. We're back to a stage where we've gotten rid of the middle people, and you're now decentralized again, and the creators of the culture now have the power again. So you need to start to really realize, like, what is that going to mean to the largest economy on the planet of Black and brown people, right? But we don't need to all be on the same platforms, but we need to be on some platform. And I just wanted to say that yes, like, whatever the learning process is that we're going through internally in this space, make sure that, you know, you're tapped in to whatever social media, to, you know, like I myself, as I'm listening to you guys, I just built myself a podcast studio in my house, right? So that I can do the recording, so I can do the video editing. But for me, I'm looking at platforms like TikTok. TikTok is so new for the younger kids. You're building a whole new platform, and being able to, and one of the biggest things about TikTok is that you can post from TikTok back into all the other platforms that already exist, right? So just knowing what platforms work best for you is beautiful, and using those platforms is the most important thing, utilizing them, so that when, you know, like you said, in the growth pattern, when this organization has its own platform, that you can reach back into whatever platforms you yourself individually have your products on, or your experiences, or the experiences that your customers are having. It's available technologically, right? The youth know how to do that, right? And that's what we do, is bring the youth in and say, look, I'm on this platform, and all of my people in this network, they're on these other platforms. Help me piece them all together. And it's, you know, it can be done very easily these days. So just wanted to put that out there, that, you know, I hear it, and I hear the connective tissue. And as a technologist, it's great to hear us going through this process, but just to say that, you know, the power is back in your hands right now.
So one of the things that I wanted to add, I hope that the audio is okay.
Yes.
How's the audio?
Good.
Good.
Excellent.
So as creatives, most of us, well, not everybody on here is a creative, but most of us are probably visual learners. So I don't really understand all of these features that are on these platforms, but whenever I'm confused or have a question or want to grow, I just Google it, and then whatever YouTube video comes up, I watch it. So that's a quick and dirty way to learn how to use these different features. And now that you have so many people working from home, the tech departments of these social media platforms, they're really busy. Like, they're working from home, and they have very little distraction, it seems. And so it seems like every week there's a new feature. So if you feel like you're not sure about something, just go to YouTube or Google and watch a video and learn how to do that.
This is Tony from Zawadi. I totally agree with everything everyone's saying. Another thing that I think would be very helpful for each of you is to actually get on the platforms, like get on an Instagram, follow somebody that you really like, and you can see, or a product that you buy yourself, so that you kind of see, oh, what are they doing? So I'm gonna give you one that I use all the time. I'm Haitian, and we buy something called Creole Essence. as in kitten, R as in Rover, EYOL, and then Essence. All right. It's a Haitian product, natural product, and she has a lot of castor oil from Haiti and uses natural hibiscus. She makes soaps. She's been on Shark Tank. I mean, this is a very accomplished woman in terms of her business. And I like her Instagram. I go on her Instagram. She has something she calls Wellness Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, she has a different person that comes on. And it's not really about selling her product. It's about engaging her community and making everybody like enjoy and love whatever she's trying to teach you. And in essence, it translates a good feeling into her product and you purchase it. So what happens on Wellness Wednesday? She has someone teaching Haitian salsa on Wednesday, you know, on one of the Wednesdays. She has another person next Wednesday doing yoga to Haitian music. You know what I mean? So, I always her site because I'm thinking to myself, that's something that you could do if it was like a collective Instagram and you featured different artists every Wednesday. You know what I mean? But I think that what helps best is not only just all these different platforms, but look at how people use the platforms to engage you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
Are there any like is anybody on Instagram? Do you buy any products? Do you follow anybody that you really like?
No, not yet.
That would be a great.
I'm on it. I follow some people. I just don't post often enough.
Right. I mean, I'm on. Yes, I'm like you, Greta. I said, and Tadre has said we need to post every day, right, Tadre?
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say every day. I would say 3 times a week, depending on the scale of your business and what you're trying to accomplish. But I am on Instagram quite a bit. And one of the things that I do is I save people's posts. So there's an option for you to save a post. And for instance, I have a category called books. I have a category called workouts. So whenever I want to buy a new book,
You're dragging again, Tadre.
Instagram allows me to access that file of the workouts that I've saved. So, okay, I'm going to mute now.
Okay, hi, this is Adrian Lockett. Am I coming through?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. I want to say that I am probably a novice in the room right now. Many of you I know, there's a few people here that I haven't met yet, but I'm glad to be involved in this particular platform to try to get to know you. You know, I've been very slow to move into this whole environment. I mean, it's like when middle of March came and my known world came to it, I was totally traumatized. It's not gonna last. If I can just make it for the next 6 weeks, I'll be able to go back to my normal way of operating. And as that 6-week mark came about, it became clear to me that wasn't gonna happen. So I've been spending this time really trying to get more familiar with all these platforms that we're talking about, figuring out how I really want to invest my resources and my time, because I don't have time or the resources to be dibbling and dabbling in 5 to 10 different things, none of which are very fruitful to me.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point I'm working on my Shopify, you know, it's like I spent 3 hours the other day working with an expert because I was fooled by Shopify where they was something I could do myself. Clearly, it is not something that you could just go on and do yourself. I'm working through that. You know, I do have an Instagram account, I do Facebook, none of which I really work to the extent that I should be working. But, you know, earlier on in this conversation, Marvin, you mentioned the virtual festival thing, which kind of where, you know, like I'm looking down the road at Focus. I mean, individually, each of us are going to get our little programs together and different ways that we promote ourselves and our product. But I think a group thing somewhere down the road and not that far down the road is the way to really get maximum exposure and make a big bang on this whole virtual world that's out here. Not used to, I have been organizing a group show from between 6 to 12 people for like the last 5 years. And I really want to continue that. Okay, we've done it in a couple of different cities, various groups of people. Some of you have participated in them. And it was basically at a not-for-profit level. I mean, it's like I would figure out how much it's going to cost. I'd divide the expense among us, and we would put it on, which kind of left me to do all the work because like they show up at $1,000 event and just want to set up their stuff, break down their stuff, and walk out the door, and I'm left to sweep and gallery space or wherever we were renting. Okay, after the event, but that's okay, because it was a passion that I had. But at this point, I'm very interested in participating with the group and how you move forward. When some people are ready to do a group thing, like a festival, or it doesn't even have to be a festival at some point. It has to be maybe a program with 5 or 6 people presenting their product at one time, back to back, or however that could happen. I would really like to work with this.
So I would say, and this that in fact it was last week. I was engaged in a conversation with Andrew, who's in the Bahamas, and a brother Kwaku, who's a has a very robust digital services corporation. He's in Ghana. We met him the last time we were there. About building out this capacity within NUANCE so that we could have an environment, a hosting environment that everyone could participate in that would give us larger visibility, the capacity to host events, do projects, share products, present in a number of ways. Kwaku's input was that he is going to, I think Andrew's going to commission him to build a Magento-based environment that will enable a number of the things that we're talking about. So just to say that in the background, this is being considered, strategized, and kind of navigated at this point. It'll probably be a couple of months before it's ready to be tested. But, we are moving forward to build a collective presence. NUANCE is simply, the collective of all of our cultural enterprises. Most of you who know me know that I've been beating this drum forever. And it's that culture is the arena that dominates the world. We are the dominant cultural creators. And for us to be second class, third class participants in somebody else's illusion is criminal. We have to collectivize and stand up enterprises that represent our strength and our capacity. If you look around now at the Black Lives Matter phenomena, you have people all over the world rallying behind a Black idea. Okay, that's not coincidence. That's history. Every time we stand up and present, the world follows our lead. And it's usually, through our ideas, through our culture, through our rhythm, through our whatever it is we present, everybody else copies and appropriates. So the challenge for us is not to be stolen from, but to feed the world the things that we want them to take away from us, and to navigate curate and orient, you know, how people interact with us, to define the terms of that relationship. I believe that we are the economic framework and foundation of a new system. You know, Andrew is fond of saying that, you know, we are the Carnegies and the Rockefellers of the next, you know, era. And that's our responsibility, to grow our enterprises to the scale where we can support the things that we need in our community, and not have to go through other people's philanthropy or write grants to the Ford Foundation or whoever to ask them to come help us. We have the capacity to help ourselves, but in order to do that, we have to see ourselves in that light and grow to that capacity. And so, you know, I know that moving into this online environment is not easy for most of us, specifically if you're creative. It's a whole nother mindset. And it, you know, takes time. It is not easy. And the reason we're suggesting uniformly Shopify at this point is that there will be 5, 6, or 7 people you can call up and ask, how do I do this? You know, what is the capacity? Because even for myself, you know, who's been marginally engaged in technology for years, it's still challenging just to go through these little itty bitty steps that you need to do repetitively to populate, to post, to put something in, and then to package it, to ship it, to print the label. It's a process. And everybody needs to engage there. Just like you know how to pack up your car, drive to a festival and set up a booth, you know, not everybody who's a creative knows how to do that. So a lot of people are stuck at home in their own city, where a few of us have mastered the form of packing that stuff up, taking it somewhere, setting up a store, selling for 2-3 days, packing it up and going back home. To a lot of people, that's crazy. How do you do that? Well, this is crazy too. I mean, but we have to do it. Andrew.
Hey, Marvin. Yeah, great. Good point you made. And I wanted to inject there for the artisans. I'm not an artist. I'm an entrepreneur who dabble, and I guess being around Marvin, I just dabble wherever I can in the arts. But there's no need, in my view. I wish Kwaku was in the meeting. Kwaku's the brother that Marvin spoke about. He manages some of the larger platforms in Ghana for the banks, etc. So he has that infrastructure and that office, that infrastructure and the staff to do what we need to get done. And he is committed to doing it for us in a very cost-effective manner that we can just scale up and grow. I'm very pleased with the work that he has done for me over the last 4 to 6 weeks since Marvin and I got back from Ghana. I got him engaged, and my site is up and running. I had a site prior to this, but it wasn't focused, and it was things I tried to do at 3 o'clock in the morning between sleep, etc. Now I'm able to just send it to him and say, hey, take care of this for me. And it's being done in a very cost-effective way. For those of you who don't know, Ghana is a whole different economy. The cost of talent in Ghana, and I say this not from an exploitative point of view, but just to let you know, entry level, the cost of talent, and I'm talking about substantive talent, college-educated talent in Ghana, is so cheap that the Chinese are going to Ghana to set up factories and to do services. Jack Ma of Alibaba is in across Africa in a big way, getting work done. You are able to get your site up and going, an e-commerce site up and going with dedicated support infrastructure. I would say budget $500. Budget $500.
For sure.
And on the other end of that, in addition to that, what I have with my sites that I'm building out, that he's built out for me, qbcelectronics.com. When you get a chance, you can take a look at it. The minute you enter the site, you're greeted by a live chat. This is not actually a live person in chat in Ghana. Hi, welcome. I'm here to help you. What can I help you with? And so now some of the little technical things that we are working on in the background. As a matter of fact, I had a overlapping Zoom with him for my managers here in Nassau at the same time this meeting was going on, is getting that community manager. I get a dedicated community manager in Ghana for under $200 per month. So whatever hour or whatever someone comes onto my site, I'm looking for, do you have this? They are able to feed it to them. And the last bit of this equation that I'm in the process of putting in place is a commission for that community manager that motivates them to hold that web visitor's hand from the moment they come into the sales channel straight to the end of day where they check out, and holding that customer for life. We've been getting sales regularly. We've been getting sales on Sundays when our store is not open. We've been getting good sales, actually. We've been getting good sales on a daily basis, and it's working. And it's working, and it's not hard.
So
It's
Andrew,
not hard.
can I jump in with you, Andrew?
Sure.
Sure. This is Mark. I just want to say for everyone, right? Because as a technologist, and the infrastructure that you're talking about, and it's being leveraged properly, that everyone who is on a Shopify site, there are integrations that allow your products from Shopify to land in the Magento site that Andrew's talking about. So this is exactly the point I was making before, right? Is Nuance itself needs just the methodology to get people into any shopping site.
Any platform.
Any platform, right? And this is what I'm saying, because if you have the ability and the infrastructure that a Kwaku has, then it's just organizing yourself to move online, and then there are integrations for Shopify to, let's say you own a Shopify site and there are 4 Magento sites, or Nuance itself has a Magento site. You can set up, or Kwaku, or whoever can set up the integration where once a new product gets put on into any one of the single websites, it automatically flows into the Magento site with the price, with the updates, with the percentages, the agreed upon percentages.
Yes, there we go.
For the sales, plus, like what Andrew's saying, the agreed upon percentages for the community manager.
Right.
So there's no talking that's necessary. The talking is now.
Now, right.
The talking is now. Organizing a methodology, a process, just a stepwise manner to say, when I input a new product in this category, here are the agreements that we have. We will have a 0.5 percentage for this, a 0.2 percentage, and that data from your site is able to flow directly into the Magento site that you know, is being managed centrally by, you know, a central organization, right? So that's all I wanted to jump in and say is that you have all the people. Like as I'm sitting here listening, you've got the products, you've got the infrastructure, right? You've got the market. Now it's just following a process. Like every day when I get up, I'm going to put new products in. Okay, if I don't know how to put the new products in, then there's someone centrally to the organization that can help me put in new products. And I agree to these percentages and that can flow. Then you can take care of the things that you're good at, whether it's the marketing piece or the creative piece, right? The technology allows for these integrations to happen like very easily. So it's great to hear that there's infrastructure, especially with the bots and the community manager and things that Andrew are talking about. So that means the individuals, whether you're getting onto the Magento site, whether you're getting onto Wix, or whether you're getting onto Shopify, just be in a process to get on, because the integration technology exists for us to just set the integration and the data in terms of how much, what percentages, and the business processes to flow into those websites. So just wanted to say that, you know, hearing what Andrew's saying in terms of what is in existence already and your ability to build that, right, from either a central or decentralized, like whether it's each individual getting onto a site there or getting onto a site here, as a network, you have the ability to bring all those things together. It's just the agreements up front, right, to make sure that when the data flows, because it's just data, it's not your sweat equity. The sweat equity should be now to agree, like, okay, I'm gonna have this site. You can build the things that you want, the events, the online promotions, all the things that the culture needs to drive that sales channel. As Andrew's saying, as the sales channel comes through, you already have the business rules set up and the people to engage them to be able to deliver like the experience that you're looking for from a sales funnel and a transactional processing perspective, right? And a platform like Magento, any of these other platforms, not only do they have the ability on the front end for the products to land in them, but they have the ability on the back end to do the analytics, to pull the data back and send the reports to each of you for your quarterly, your monthly, your annual reports. So all those things are available in this day and time. We just need to get into this process. So I just wanted to say that, like, it's rare. I just want to also say that it's very rare to sit in a group of African folks who have not only the products, the culture, the creative, but then the implementation, the people, the products, and the process to deliver on it. And from what I've heard just being on this call is that you do have the ability to implement these things quickly. It's just that learning process that is going to, an onboarding process.
Yep.
So wait, Mark.
I'm just saying about the onboarding.
Yes.
And it's like from the artist or the creator, the critical input is for you to be able to describe your product, price it at a level that is real, in terms of rewarding you for your labor, covering your expenses, and then being able to upload that to some platform, but only you know what you sell. Only you know what you make. Only you know what it's made of. Only you know its real cost structure. So that is the real challenge for the artist, I mean, the technical stuff somebody else can do,
Correct.
but nobody else can really present your work in the way that you know that it needs to be presented, describe it in the way that, you know, best reflects what it actually is, and can upload it because you're creating it. So you've got to be able, from creation, to photograph it, describe it, and send it somewhere. So those are the key steps that each artist, each, you know, producer has to be able to manage, you know. And I think that's kind of the apprehension. That's one of the barriers. Okay, I made it, I got it. So now I got to think about, what do I say about it?
And photographing,
And
that's very key.
and photograph it. You know, we've got the light boxes, the cell phone cameras are more than adequate. Shopify, you can load a product to a Shopify site from your phone. Click, description, load up, price, done. Okay, I mean, that's the process that the artists, the creators need to manage and master. Someone can build the site for you, but in terms of populating it with your product, describing your product, you know, that's on us in terms of managing and mastering that. If it's a store, if it's Zawadi or if it's Faye, what products are you going to feature? What are the ones that sell? So from the Facebook Live thing that we did this past weekend, and the limited, I haven't really spoken to Brenda at length, but Akosua did very well. Her price points are all under $100. My price points average $200. Brenda's price points average, you know, $300 or $400.
But she also had masks and some other products that she imported from Mali. And do let me say, those are the ones that sold mostly, not high-end pieces.
Yeah.
So it's a price point that flows most fluidly at this time through the social media that we need to be mindful of. And perhaps the issue is designing products that, you know, flow most easily into the channel, and making that the feature of our web presence, even though we still have some of the other things, but, you know, creating things that match, you know, the current spending limits that are already established. Andrew?
Absolutely.
Yeah. On one point, again, in support of the two things I wanted to add, it's a lot happening. I'm in my store today, guys, and we just reopened yesterday, and these folks are all over the place. Fulfillment and production. The same time we're building these sites, we're building this site and we're making this journey. If we anticipate realistically in 90 days, 60 to 90 days, we will be at the end of having this dynamic site, this dynamic presence, and ready to move into the marketing stage. How are we going to fulfill the orders?
Exactly.
When Marvin speaks about production and price points, again, the same opportunity that exists for us to utilize the technical skills in Ghana also exist for us to utilize production capacity in Ghana. I put it in to put it in perspective. Unemployment is probably about 80% there. You can hire a college graduate for the equivalent of 120 US dollars per month. Now it's going to be up to us at some point to reward them appropriately, above and beyond that. But that gives us an opportunity to get our foot in the door, tied with Zoom. We can stay in touch with our production infrastructure there on the ground in Ghana. And so it is conceivable that you can, that a COSWA can produce that piece of labor-intensive jewelry that she is selling online, it is conceivable that that can be produced for about $3, and I'm being generous. And I'm talking about people putting their time, their love, their effort into it. And that will give us an entry point into the market, because you need inventory. You need
We're there with you,
inventory.
Andrew, but
I'm
it's
sorry?
like I said, we're right there with you. But right now we're in a lockdown, so and Ghana especially. But right, because we're supposed to be there right now, right?
No,
Okay.
actually, Ghana is no longer locked down.
Ah.
It's the borders are closed.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We
But
can't get
yeah.
there.
yeah,
So,
now, but we have a network. We have a network of people already there in Ghana that we can at least begin the conversation and the development of prototypes, etc. We've been doing that. We're doing that with sandals.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah. I mean,
Well, I left.
hey, how long are we gonna? How long? We need to move our projects forward in spite of the lockdown. Is all I'm saying.
Okay, but
And
can we send what do you call it, supplies there, or I guess we
yeah,
could.
I'm sure we can, but there's so much supply, there's so much available locally. To the extent that you're able to source materials locally, yes, you're gonna want it, but you can send stuff there. You can
And then
send.
we'd be able to get our product back, even once we do specs and what have you. We can do Zoom, working out kinks and.
Yeah, we'll get the products back. That's not gonna say you're gonna stop producing and doing what you're doing now.
Yeah, right.
But
right.
that's the supplement, so that way you can stay on course with the creative development realm. And so after you've developed it and you want to do a limited production or a production run of 500-600 pieces, you have somebody there who would be dedicated and committed to producing an outstanding product for you.
So
Okay.
Andrew, just from Mark, I want to ask, because just in this example, right, specifically to this exact example, like, do we have let's say a functional flow that people can follow, right, from where they are, and then steps, right? Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Are we at that point yet? Because a lot of people are at different stages. So just asking to say, like, okay, who's ready to be on this platform? Who's ready to, send products? Who's ready to do the full process? Have you guys documented that level yet?
No, in this production process, well, as I said, this is a necessary, but kind of a slow migration. And what we've attempted to do is, test out some of these things and build capacity within this group as kind of an advisory to assist people moving forward. The production piece, we haven't tested that because realistically, that's going to require the producer going to Ghana, sitting with, identifying the people we're going to work with, teaching them how to produce or create something.
Well, each of these, the reason I'm saying that is that each of these pieces, right, like that Andrew has, isolated, there's a funnel, right?
Mm-hmm.
The steps in the funnel are the pieces that I'm talking about. Like, sure, the production piece is there, the online distribution piece is there, the drop shipping piece is there, the pieces of the US creators and the artists are here, right? Just to visualize, because you do have a lot of visual people online here, but just so that folks can see the steps, so that they can visualize where they are in the process,
That's what
and
you're
when
saying.
they've completed it, you know, their part or their step in that particular stage of the process, then you know, like, you can move them all along in
The
those.
assembly line process.
Mhm.
Assembly
Yeah,
line.
yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah. So you
that's
got one
exactly what
person who can just cut everything for you.
the same. Well, what I'm saying is the same assembly line process that you have
Concept
in the
applied
production
to the entire
area.
project. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about right. The
Yeah.
whole project is an assembly line,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Okay, and I'm sorry, but my audio got cut out at the key moment because that's the most important part to me. How
Yes,
do we have that where we get product out of Ghana so that we can have something to work with
correct.
all the way through the process, including the import export headaches and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We get that. We have we've put the physical. We have the infrastructure sort of like partially in place in Ghana. It's called the Black Star Line and Trading Company.
Mm-hmm.
We got a physical presence. We got space, etc. So yeah. So the Black Star Line.
It's coming, in other words.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
But I get your point, Mark, to chart this out so that people can see the continuum,
Correct.
see where they are, because each step on the continuum has steps in it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that could be helpful, you know, to us overall.
And just looking at what Warren just texted, right? And Warren, I think you've captured it, right? Is we were having an e-commerce conversation, and then we moved into a manufacturing conversation, but actually how those two are bubbles that sit in the larger, you know,
Right.
steps and stages that we were talking
True.
about.
Right.
That's exactly what I'm saying, is that there are folks here who just need to get the e-commerce part together first,
Mhm.
so that they can deliver on their own day-to-day, you know, pieces. But that is preparing them to move into the manufacturing and production stage, because
Exactly.
we know that we need that, right? So
Mhm.
just to be able to diagram that
Mhm.
and have a flow and document that flow, so that each and every person kind of knows
Where they are in the
their
continuum.
place.
Yes. The
Yeah,
formula. Yeah,
so
we need the
important.
format.
Let me stop. Faye, were you
Sure.
trying to get say something or get my attention some kind of way?
No, I was, I sit in a different space than
Mhm.
most people on this call. So I'm always trying to figure out how the gallery, because I'm not trying to get I might be trying to get some things produced out of Ghana, but not that I would be designing, but that may already be available there, that
Right.
I would,
Right.
Understood.
particularly for, certain things.
Mhm.
You
Most
may
of
already have product that you have on your retail shelves that could be sold online.
Yeah, I
So-
do. And I've been working on that. I've just finished having everything photographed. I'm looking at Shopify versus my current Squarespace. Do I just need to update that and not migrate to another platform?
You probably do not have to change.
You don't have to change.
What you just have, what it is everything that you have in I think you said Squarespace.
Mm-hmm.
Everything can be exported in a database, CSV file, and if you're working with someone else, they can import that data and put it right into, well, let's just say if we had a common website, whoever's running that common website can import your information and use it right on that other e-commerce site.
And that's what I was saying earlier, is you don't even need to export anymore. It's not even necessary. So it's just a matter of finding out what you need to do. If you need to move those products into the central website, then we can do that for you. But what I'm hearing across the board is we just need to know what step folks are at, so that we can implement, what their next step needs to be, right? So my specialty is back-end database infrastructure. So if that's all that's needed in terms of the step that Warren just mentioned, in terms of moving your data from one platform to the other platform, that's something that can be done. You know, I could share my screen right now and show you like how to do that, right? That's something that can be done. You can schedule that. Those are the pieces that I'm talking about when I'm saying each individual, depending, like you're in the gallery space, that gallery space is part of the whole ecosystem that we're talking about, and we should know like what products are in there, when can you be available to talk about it, or when are you posting about the products that you have. Like those are all steps and stages that we should document.
Okay.
So I have a quick question. Is that our next Zoom conversation, sharing your screen so we can all learn
I can do that.
the process? Can that happen?
I can do that.
You know, so this way we did e-commerce, we did manufacturing, now the systems, the formula. Maybe we can make notes on that while you share your screen. Are you offering up your website, your email address, so we can talk with you if we have a question?
Absolutely.
You know, that type of thing. Also, can we implement a Zoom show together? Who's here, as per Adrian and a couple others, whomever we invited, and let's have a Zoom show. How does that work? Mark, can you maybe talk to us about that? You know,
Sure.
and Warren, that we can just come and do a show with all of us on it.
Absolutely. And
that could be done at any time, but I think everyone should be working on a website.
Correct.
Okay.
I think that's number one.
Okay.
Everyone should be working on a website.
Have it fully functional. Just know the process of putting products on it, describing the products, you know, posting them in such a way on your site that they're accessible. When something is purchased, you know, having the capacity to package, ship it, and deliver it in a very timely manner. So once that's done, you know, as I say metaphorically, that's your booth. Now you have a booth,
right?
And you're capable of attending. And
can I add this to you, Marvin?
Yeah.
All right. So just for everyone, including Warren and Andrew, as people who understand like the infrastructure and how these things work, and then everyone else who sit in their space as creative spaces, I would say as the central organizing kind of committee, that you come up with what I would call a classification scheme, right? Which would say when you do upload that product, individual artist, what Nuance needs to know is item number, description, list price, right? So these are metadata, just the columns that would describe the rows of products. Mm-hmm. So as long as you've got a classification scheme or a template, right, then everyone, regardless of how they put it, where they put it, it will adhere to this template that then gets pulled into any future platform very easily, right? So that's a simple way to say, always, you know, the name of the product, give it a unique identifier, item 1, 2, 3, 4, description, the price, the supplier, how long it takes to ship it, how much it weighs, just a templated way of describing the product itself, right? That's one of the key pieces to then now have an interchange or a way to, as one of the things, you might export that data from your platform, or we might
Is there
There are
external
standard.
sites, various sites, a standard template?
Yeah.
that we can-
Yeah. Someone's
that was a challenge that I was having. I was working with my son, who was, photographing stuff, putting it in Dropbox. He was having me put the description in a Google document.
Yeah.
I could never,
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. So if what you do, period, is just have one template or a classification scheme to say, here's my product. The product has a number of styles. The product has, describe the product. And then I can get on Zoom and just show you how the technology can move your description from Google Sheets or your description from that platform into a downstream platform, whether it's Magento or, another person's Shopify site. So just like Greta was saying, right? If next week we decide to say, okay, we're going to do a Zoom call and we're going to all invite 10 people to that Zoom call. And then in that Zoom call, we send them to our individual websites. Immediately, you're able to then pull that information to say, yesterday, between the hours that we were on that Zoom call, we can pull all the sales out of our platform and centralize that sales marketing effort and know collectively how much we were able to make, what our impact was for the messages that we put out. And very easily, you've got a quote unquote event, right? So it's just a matter of describing those products uniformly first. That's the one thing I would leave, is just to say items, descriptions of the product. Then you can move from the items itself to like different offers, right? To say, okay, we're having this event. Let's create an offer for that event. Well, my offer would give you 20% off if you bought in the first 10 minutes of the event. Maybe it gives you more, 50% off if you bought in the first 10 minutes, 20%, but you can describe all those things and then pull that data out of those systems and run whatever, business processes you need to run over that information. So you start first information together, and we could, whether it's Google Docs or if it's in the platform itself.
Excuse me, Mark. Do you know where that interference is coming from?
Your audio is echoing.
Yeah, a lot of interference.
Yeah, someone.
I'm wondering if I just switched from my iPad to my iPhone because the battery was dying.
Hey, you're really low.
I said I was switching from my iPad to my iPhone because the battery.
You gotta mute one of them.
That's what I'm trying to do right now.
Because I'm doing basically the same thing. You can hear me through my phone, but I can see you on my desktop. But I've muted my desktop.
Okay, has the noise gone away now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we have an echo now.
Now just turn it down.
I love this tutorial, Mark. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
I need your number, please.
Okay, excellent. I'll put it in the chat here.
In the chat. Terrific.
So a diagram of the flow of the entire environment, so people can see where they are in that. Mark, if I could get a copy of a template,
Yeah, I'll send you one.
and then we can share with everybody, because I think that kind of breaks down the critical information that you need to provide for each product. And you know, if you do 2 or 3 or 5 products a day, just to get in the rhythm of,
Right.
of having that stored somewhere. If somebody was creating your site, you can just send them all that information, and in a day, you know, it could be ready. But often there's a bog down in terms of, okay, the site's ready, I need this from you. Then you got to think about, well, what am I going to put on there? How do I describe it? What price should it be? You can do that in advance of having a site even. Populating each of your products to this template, photograph it, put it there, describe it, put it there, price, etc., etc. So I think that's just a useful exercise for us to get in the rhythm of doing, to become habitual really at doing that. Because once we've done that, then all of these other integrations can flow seamlessly, I believe. And Faye, to your issue, I think to everyone's, again, I'll reiterate, designing a product, isolating a product out of your inventory that really is going to work through these channels. You know, that's one of the things, the reason that I'm leaning on the Ghana production, because those are smaller items for me. I can't make them at a price that I can sell them affordably. So I need to have the production costs down so that it can be priced at $50 or $60 and still be a great product. So
Right.
what are those
Actually, you can have
items?
2 tiers of products.
Huh?
You can actually have 2 tiers of products.
Absolutely. That would be
Right.
the idea. But those lower price items would sell more easily. Could be the entry level to my inventory for new customers. It just opens the channel and keeps the channel flowing, so that there's not, you know, that sticker shock that, you know, turns people
Yeah.
away.
It also builds loyalty to the group that's coming, you know, that we are growing with and inviting into our store. The loyalty, the value, you know, it's a wonderful thing to have a price point that they can't say no to, and then they'll be like, I'll take 3,
Right.
because the price point is now just where they want to be, and they're so excited they're buying from each vendor in the store, you know, because they're shopping the look. Simply Greta shops the look. I might be repping Adrian's jewelry with somebody else's hats. I shop the look because they don't know exactly where to find the product. And why do I go very far? I'm the one. I got the 411. Here it is. Here's the look. Why? Da 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 da. You know, they can find a look amongst all of us within this situation that we're creating.
And also I wanted to, I think Faye, you and I have talked about this, or I don't know, maybe the 3 of us, about you doing a, as Tadre was saying, a class on collecting African art.
Yeah, that's on my schedule as we're reopening, but of course doing it virtually.
Right.
But doing a class about different aspects of art. And also I have 4 artists who I want to bring in virtually from different parts of the country to do shows.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. I was just going to add that somebody should also give some consideration to just product marketing, the nuance concept. In other words, like back in the old days, there were posters that you could mass produce that would just be on a particular topic, just so that people had something to direct them to nuance, as opposed to each of our individual products.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like a leader page. The leader page will give us nuance, you know, and then we could follow
under
suit.
that umbrella.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's the key, right? Is there is that umbrella. If nuance is the umbrella, then nuance's strategy and nuance's social media strategy would include all of your information and kind of push towards each of you, you know, for events, all of those pieces.
Mhm.
All right, Marvin, I found a couple of things just from a references and resources perspective that I can share with you guys. Anyone that kind of, you know, I've put my cell phone in the chat. Anyone who wants to contact me, but I feel like, you know, if Marvin, you want to schedule something just that I can talk to, like I have a digital platform strategy. Like you guys can look here, a digital platform strategy that is specific to the retail industry, right? So mapping where specific people are in their process. Like if your problem is revenue, if your problem is, you know, the cost of your product, if you're, you know, what your goals are for each of the steps and stages that you're looking at, like what particular thing, like, you know, what I just finished talking to you guys about was just integration, right? Like just how do we integrate all of our pieces together? So we can talk specifically, whether we're talking about the media aspect, how to integrate those things, whether you're talking about the retail pieces, how to integrate those things. So I'll share some of those resources, and then we can circle back like specifically to do a call about that, right? Where it doesn't take over like a general call like this.
Okay.
I had another question.
Yes, sir.
We're talking about inviting other people.
Mm-hmm.
And from the creative side, what are you looking for?
The
I
primary.
mean,
Those that can contribute.
no, I'm real serious.
No,
Are
I
you
am.
are you, but contribute how? Do you want people? I noticed some people, is everybody that you're bringing in a creative? That's really my question.
no, we have an attorney here. We have marketers here. We're looking for people who have an interest in developing this environment. We each have individual enterprises that we're concerned with, but we're asking and inviting people here who have the capacity, the skill set, and the inclination to develop this universe for others to benefit from as well. Adrian, spoke to it very, very well. She organizes these events. She takes upon herself the burden of contacting people, collecting the money, negotiating with, the venue, cleaning up afterwards, all of that. Nobody else is doing that. She's doing that. People come in, set up their booth, make their money and go. No concern. We're looking for people like Adrian who have the spirit to know that somebody's got to do the groundwork. Somebody's got to create the framework. Somebody's got to lay the foundation for all of this stuff to flow. 1,000 individuals looking for their own self-interest doesn't make anything work without people in there dedicated to pulling the pieces together, to having the conversations, to creating the framework, talking about the percentages, the infrastructure of this. We're at a very foundational level, but this is important. This may well be the most important thing you do in your life.
Correct.
What we are doing here now will survive us by generations, will create or not create the economic survival for our communities worldwide. If what we are doing here now succeeds, you know,
When?
infinite possibilities emanate from this. I
I
mean,
say,
you know,
Yeah.
hundreds and thousands of people will be employed as a result of this. Institutions will be built, schools will be built as a result of this.
Totally.
This
Totally.
is really critical, but not everybody sees that. Some people just see, hey, I want to do another show. I need to make some money. And that's cool.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, the people we're inviting here are people who have the vision and the dedication to invest some time and energy to build this. You know, we're hopeful that these are creative people, so they bring imagination as well as skills, but that's what we're looking for. And it doesn't have to be an artist. It could be
Right.
anybody who can see that this is our future and it needs
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. Yeah. The awareness is very important, you know? Yeah. They must have that awareness of where we're going, you know, what we want to accomplish. Yeah.
You know,
And
so
maybe that could be something that could be formalized, you know, so that if it is that we are inviting, maybe there's a formula, maybe there's a listing of what we're looking for. It's easy to probably speak it because you are the epitome of it. Now the it factor, Faye is looking for, who am I going to ask? And if they're not aware of, you know, temperament is so important. Harmony is so important. You know what I'm saying? Patience is going to be important, you know? So it's like, who are these people? And they need to know that that's part of the criteria of, you know, who we are. We're all elders in this group here, and I'm putting myself in there, you know? So
absolutely.
we need to have
the other
that,
thing,
that
we have,
grace, you know?
so we have the Facebook group, Nuance Connected.
Right.
Any and everybody can be there. So that's first level. If
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
artists or creative people, other folks, invite them there. So in there, you'll be able to listen to this conversation.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be invited to this conversation
Right.
unless you have something specific to contribute. So,
Right.
so this is curated. That is not. That's open to everybody. So if
Right.
there's artists or anybody who's interested in our arena, it could be customers.
Right.
Let's gather all there, and then each of us and everybody can post your events, whatever you're doing in that group, and share the information. So that's a communication, a community infrastructure that we've created. That will be
The reason I raised this question, the old social worker in me brings this up.
Bring it up.
Because if I am inviting you, Marvin, to participate in something I'm doing, I'm going to have to be able to explain it to you, articulate it to you in such a way that you and I can then understand if we should even be going forward with this. You understand what I'm saying? That it's not the people around the table now, I think have, you know, clearly have the cultural understanding, the creative understanding, but everybody that you talk to who even may be doing something in this world doesn't have that. So I'm just trying to find out the approach
Right.
that should
Let
be
me
used.
just
And I think that's important.
let me just
I
add
actually
this
think
because
as we continue in these conversations, we're going to determine what our needs are. And
Yeah.
as a result of determining what our needs are, we will probably figure out who we need to reach out to light to them.
and not only that, what you might see that is needed or necessary might be something that I missed altogether or that Marvin hadn't thought of. So what you conceive is also more important than just what we could tell you our opinion of what needs to be brought to the table.
Well, I guess I'm saying that the group needs, I do believe it's a group process that the group will come to understand itself.
Correct.
And what its needs are. But just, we need to be thinking about that or we'll lose some of these conversations. There'll be good conversations, but they'll be lost.
That's the perfect statement, because what I want to leave you guys with, and this is Mark, that there is a structured process to capture these objectives, these action items, right? There are structured programmatic and project management. And I hear that social worker background coming out, right? Because if we don't capture those items, right, we won't be able to, just like Warren just said, if you don't know your needs, you won't even be able to prioritize those needs. And that's one of the key pieces that I'm hearing is, you know, understand the needs, prioritize the needs, and not just for the whole, but for each individual, and then create an action plan that encompasses that then can be shared with any new people that come into the space, because you've already got it documented and you don't have to repeat it again for them.
Right on.
Right. So that's where I'm getting to, is we are in that process, and it is a structured process, and it sounds like you guys are committed to that. And we just need to start by, you know, the folks who want to go through that process then say, okay, let's schedule a set of talks that can actually take us through that program to define those. Because Marvin, I know you have a set of documents, and I think, you know, you've said it to me before, there's that layer, right? You've defined that organizational layer, but now it's operational, right? It's like, you know, a transactional layer of how we're going to operate, what those operational steps are, and how we prioritize and push things through the organization and get action and then get feedback on those things. So I'm agreeing with everything everyone's saying. It's just that everyone has a different idea, but you just have to, we have to commit to being in that process.
Great meeting. Great meeting.
Thank you, guys.
You all
Thank
good?
you.
Mark.
Last word, anybody?
Hey, Ingrid.
Everybody stay
Ingrid.
well.
You didn't say. She's muted.
Yes, I think she took something off.
So this meeting was recorded and we can review it.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got to decode it, YouTube it, and then it will be in the NUANCE connected Facebook group.
Okay.
So give it a couple of days, it'll be there.
All right.
Say, let's talk. I got a couple ideas for us.
Adrian, let's talk. I got a couple of ideas.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Let's start with, you know, they say one great idea spoken to many, one good idea spoken to a group becomes a big, great idea like nuance. You know what I mean? Yeah, so we have to continue with our ideas to become this great idea that we already are. And just Mark at the helm, and Andrew down in the Bahamas, he's certainly in there, you know. So I think we've got some really great energy to navigate this team.
Yes.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
And Faith,
Absolutely.
thank you for
guys.
showing us beautiful red lips, because none of the rest of us girls put on lipstick.
Adrian's got on a little lavender gloss.
Adrian, I can't
Yeah.
see. Okay.
Adrian
Yeah.
came dressed for the occasion.
Yes.
I'm looking
Oh,
forward.
I see now. Okay.
Okay.
So the Blue Show is up and coming, so we'll get ideas for the Blue Show. Adrian, I'm sure you'll keep us posted, of course, on the next day, the Blue Show.
Yes. Yes.
And I believe I did a Facebook Live with someone, and while she was showing, I was the guest. So she invited me in, and I was able to show accordingly, discuss with her, show my collection with her, discuss, you know. So there are those one-on-one, like Mark is saying, we can have 2 or 3 together and come up with a Facebook showing with just 2 of us. Adrian and I could show together, you know, a Koswa, Marvin, we can all kind of come together, or 2 or 3, however we could maneuver it or navigate it at this time, like we're doing this Zoom.
Yes.
So the next Zoom show could be the this group right here, just to see what we have, what we're talking about,
Yes.
how it relates. It doesn't have to take hours, maybe 10
Right.
minutes per artist. We
Yes.
show one piece, we describe it, and we start to discuss, you know, how we're looking together if we were to do a very large showing. You
Right.
know,
think we could-
we can have critiques, we can have, you know, other wonderful constructive conversation
music.
and so on. You know, so we
Yeah.
can start with the group and see what's happening.
Yes. Sounds great. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I see it already, you know.
I do too.
Are we turning the camera around? What is the format? You know, how do we do that? You know, so everyone can have the possibility of shopping together at that time, right there. Adrian, hold that earring for me. I must have it, you know. So it's like that. So this is the group right here. This is the shopping group. I see it.
I do.
Marvin, I can't wait for that bag to be the price point I can afford.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be laying away a bag for a moment there. I saw some things last week on the live, you know, it's like, oh, I need that bag.
Yeah, I think if we do that, I think it'd be a limited, like you said, 10-minute discussion so that we can
Absolutely.
focus on what
Right.
we're really here to do, and that's to
That's
make sure
all
that
we
we
need.
get the
Yeah.
e-commerce piece going,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
big picture.
Yep. Practice your pitch, practice your pitch. Those are the things that is necessary on a live, your entrance, your practice, your greeting, you
And
know, how long
that's
you
the
take on
thing.
a product. I noticed that, you know, holding the product to the camera is so very important, you know, because so many things are going on. They're not getting enough value on the product, you know. So I'm behind the scenes. I'm always looking at, you know, what people are asking for. The questions aren't getting answered enough or long enough. You know, how does that work? You know, how do we, Marvin, it's great that you're saying go to your website. It's easier for you to navigate through your site, you know? So it's just so many formulas that's working right now. And bringing Adrian up to speed, it's like, she's already doing this wonderful line of jewelry. Now it's just conversation around it and so on. I was asked to do a live for someone in New York when I visit New York. It doesn't matter what time. Greta, can you come and do a live with me when you're in New York? Sure. You know, now, I can go and assess the product and put myself in the product and then speak about the product, but I speak about the energy that I feel through a product. I'm marketing self, spirit in somebody else's product for value and loyalty. You know what I'm saying? Bring them in it. Take them on the road. Where are you going to take this on vacation? Where are you going to pack in here? Da 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 da. And what
Yeah,
the other
that sounds like a totally different meeting.
yeah. But I'm just saying that is somebody asked me to do that for them. You know, so it's just things that come out of these meetings that we just don't know about. Somebody else is looking for.
Okay, somebody mentioned, I don't know, that Facebook has a Zoom feature now.
Yes, somebody
They have
mentioned that.
rooms, yeah.
Yeah. I
Huh?
think they call it messenger
Yeah.
rooms.
Messenger group,
Messenger rooms.
messenger rooms.
Messenger rooms, right, yeah.
Okay.
With video and
So, yeah, I've seen it advertised on television a couple of times.
Since a lot
It's
of
on
our
Facebook
customers
too.
are on
They'll
Facebook,
tell you about it.
that's a feature we need to examine, because a lot of
Okay.
folks are not familiar with Zoom. But if we
Mhm.
can populate that within Facebook, that might be advantageous. Because
Messenger
we're talking about
rooms.
everybody wearing
Yeah.
blue, you know, it
Mhm.
would help if everybody could see everybody wearing blue.
right.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, you know, something else to consider. But, you know, hey, I don't want to drag this on forever. We could talk forever, obviously. I think it's been a very productive call.
Yeah.
You know,
Thanks,
I
Marvin.
know I learned a lot out of it.
Yeah, me too. This was good.
Yeah.
So, you know, connect with each other, ask some questions, think about, you know, where you are going next, where you are on the continuum. I'll pick up Mark's suggestion in terms of trying to diagram the A to Z of this, so everybody can see where you are and how you,
Mm-hmm.
where you fit in, and you know how you're progressing. But again, you know, website foundation
Right.
that
Mm-hmm.
allows us to communicate. The template that hopefully will share in terms of how you catalog or log in your product, so that it can be data that can be shared, you know, seamlessly across platforms. That will be helpful. And, you know, again, everybody here is at the center of a universe. You have conversations with your friends, with the folks you associate with. Bring them along. Tell them, hey, you got to get a website. You know, it's got to be an e-commerce website. Share some of this information. They don't have to be on this call. You are here. So now you're the messenger that needs to take it back to these other constituencies and spread the word. Even if it's just a mention or a conversation.
Yep, that's what's up.
Starts them to thinking about it, because this is inevitable and it's necessary.
Yep.
The more people we have in this environment, if it's 10, imagine what it looks like when we have 1,000
Yep.
who are all over the world, who we can just, you know, click, 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 send stuff, you know, to 12 different cities. I mean, just imagine it's possible once this thing is
Fulfillment infrastructure right
integrated
there.
and formatted. Last words, anybody?
All righty. Peace and love, everybody.
Peace and love.
Yes,
Stay
right.
well,
Get-
stay safe.
Catch us
All
next
righty.
one.
Stay in.
Marvin, I'll call you tomorrow.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Warren.
Bye.
Bye.
Let's
Right.
do it. Let's do it.
Let's
All
do it.
right.
For
Let's
sure.
do
Bye.
it.
All right.
Okay, y'all.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.